up the top stars from Hollywood and from all over the world to entertain you on a giant screen with the few colorful motion pictures you've been hearing about and reading
It's
about.
showtime, folks. Enjoy the show.
We're delighted to have you with us. They're driving theater.
You'll find something to please you to add to your evening's enjoyment.
Is pleased to bring you our feature presentation.
What's up, everybody? Good evening. Happy snow day, January 15th, 2024. We're in the studio. It is frosty. It is snowy. It is icy. We braved the cold just to be with you here tonight live on the Drive-In Speaker Box. So thanks for tuning in. As if this is your first time, maybe you caught me on my, snowy drive report on the way up to the studio. But I was trying to it's funny. I'll do these Bronco drives where I'm just here are what the roads look like. I'm driving down some of the main roads, doing all this kind of stuff. And I'll get 150 people tune in live, and they're like, "Oh, thank you so much for doing. We look forward to hearing you talk about the snow. We want to watch you all the time. You should do this every day." And then I'm like, "Well, I do it every Monday. You could check out the podcast." "Well, we don't want to. No, never mind. We don't want to go click enough. We don't want to like nothing. Come on, guys, like something. Like the Drive-In Speaker Box. It's fun. It's great. It's awesome." But shout outs to everybody that's already joining us over on Twitch. Thanks for tuning in, guys. It is, as Al Topich said on Twitch, it is damn cold outside. It is absolutely cold. So anyway, this is Drive-In Speaker Box. We're going to be talking to you about movies. I'm your host, Bo, the boom operator.
I'm Slick Doggy the Grip.
And we're going to be up here for about an hour-ish talking to you about stuff, or until it starts to get cold because I turn the heat off. I can already feel the chill starting to cut through. But yeah, tonight we're going to be just talking about what happened in movies. Is what we do. What happened last week, what's coming out this weekend, what happened at the box office. And I'm going to review The Beekeeper, which is the new Jason Statham film that is currently out in theaters. Basically one of the only movies that came out last weekend, minus the Mean Girls movie, which I did not get a chance to see. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, and I don't think Jake got a chance to go to the theater.
No, the weather took away my opportunity to make it to the movie theater. I've been in a couple of fender benders and don't need another one, and my car's not getting around fantastic because the car that does get around is down.
Well, Dina on Twitch says, "Don't see Mean Girls. Save yourselves." So there's one of our viewers giving us a recommendation to not check it out. So, there's a little advanced report.
Yeah, it's just a musical version of a movie you can watch already.
That's probably that version's better. So, with that said, let's jump into the news. It's been a week. There's been stuff that's happened. Netflix announced they're making another Fear Street movie. The R.L. Stein's The Prom Queen. R.L. Stein was actually in Fayetteville not too long ago. I got to do cocktails for that event. They were like, "You want to meet R.L. Stein?" I was like, "I'm too busy. I could have met him. I should have met him. That would have been cool.
That would have been cool.
Get a picture, get something signed," but didn't have time to. But it was cool having him in our own backyard. But I liked the Fear Street trilogy that Netflix did. I thought it was a lot of fun, and hopefully this one will capture some of that same magic, and we can check that out. Netflix teaming up with Guy Ritchie for another the gangster hijinks, I guess, is what he does, called The Gentleman. If you know Guy Ritchie, you know what he does, you know his shtick. Should be fun.
Is that not what the last movie was called?
That's kind of what I thought. That's what was kind of confusing me here, because, I guess it's a TV show version of the movie.
Okay.
The
I was
Gentleman?
about to say, that was the one that had...
Because that was 4 years ago when The Gentleman...
Charlie Hunnam, and it was called The Gentleman.
Yeah, and it was...
McConaughey and...
what's his guy? The
Irish dude.
No, the British guy who I love as a bad guy more than he was in Notting Hill and everybody loved him. And, Why am I blanking on his freaking name?
Hugh
Grant.
Yeah.
And Lair the White Worm is a great early Hugh Grant movie. If you've never seen it, maybe don't watch it, but you can watch part of it. Anyway, him embracing the fact that he plays an amazing villain now is so good. He was in that movie with Jason Statham that came out, the French one that was like Ruse de Guerre. He was in that and he was just so good. But I really like Hugh Grant as a bad guy. I'm happy that he's embracing this chapter of his life. It's always funny when you see like aging heartthrobs kind of find that new, kind of like Antonio Banderas, and Pierce Brosnan, like they're later in life, they're no longer obviously sex symbols, but they're still, they evolve in their typecasting, and I like where it's going. So I don't know, 4 years after the movie, but it is Guy Ritchie led, so that's pretty good. If you're into that early 2000s era Guy Ritchie, like, you ever watch the SNL videos where they're making fun of like those the British gangster comedies, like, and like pointing guns all sideways, and it's playing like jungle music or something. And thanks for the subs, I'm here. But yeah, fun times. I like Guy Ritchie. I like the formula. It's fun.
Yeah, I heard this morning, I talk with my mouth like this so I can't pronounce my TH.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's that. What do you got? What do you got on your paper? I saw you writing some stuff down.
Yeah, Velvet Santa pointed out there's a new George Carlin comedy special where they use AI to recreate George Carlin. His daughter's pissed.
I mean, wouldn't you be?
Yeah, she's not happy about that at all. I did read and see that the other day. Yeah, dude, I got a whole bunch of stuff here. How to Train Your Dragon live action as movies they call live action, with all that CGR anymore, has a couple of updates. They've started filming on it.
Mm-hmm.
It has a June of 2025 release date set, and they have cast some more people in it. Unfortunately, they're keeping Gerard Butler in his role from the animated movies, but they've recast Craig Ferguson's character. It won't be Craig Ferguson, but instead it'll be Nick Frost.
Okay.
So I'm sure a lot of people will probably be okay with that, but it's just not the same. I wanted Craig Ferguson. I like Craig Ferguson a lot.
Craig Ferguson's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So, but Nick Frost he's from the Shaun of the Dead and The World's End and all of those movies. What was the one with the alien?
Which one?
The one with the alien. Seth Rogen did the voice of the alien. And
it was like the guy's name,
Fred or something like that. Yeah. Anyhow, he's a funny guy, but we'll see how that goes. Also, sequels or remakes or whatever. However, I'm deciding to go with this. The Mortal Kombat 2 has started to release production photos from on set as well, just like the How to Train Your Dragon. But they are teasing characters for the film. There was a fan, like Kitana uses, a blue fan.
Okay.
There's a hammer, Shao Kahn, and then there's a white hand, just like a white hand against the black robe, Quan Chi.
Oh, I see. My MK lore is, back when we used to have Chun in here, he was the MK lore master. Yeah. And you guys could go at it talking about all the MK lore. I know that like Shang Tsung will swallow your soul, and like that's about as far as I get.
Yeah, yeah. So in this one, it looks like they're going full, Shao Kahn's realm. They're going to the Nether realm, and they're gonna have everyone from that side. Because if they're gonna have Quan Chi, who's like the evil sorcerer dude, and Shao Kahn, who's like the ruler of Nether realm, then it's going to be more. I just hate. Hey, thanks
for the sub.
I hate that they're going to have old Ding Dong Magoo that they made the main character in the first one.
So is this the last movie I remember was all about Razorblade Hat? And he was that the right movie? Did I watch that? Was that a thing?
Yes and no. He was one of the main characters. they created a character for the movie that had never existed in the games, and his whole thing was that he could create golden armor on himself, which wasn't a very Mortal Kombat
I remember.
thing.
Okay, I kind of remember. I vaguely remember because I watched the original Mortal Kombat, and then there was the Mortal Kombat 2 that came off of that, and then wasn't there another Mortal Kombat that came out and it was not great? And now there was another, this new one, and now a sequel to this one. I forget them all.
I missed Vince's story about Spielberg being.
So yeah, scrolling back into the comments here, we got a hype train going right now on Twitch, which is pretty cool. But Vince on Twitch had a comment for you, Jake. He says,
when he walked out of Hook, like low viewership, or people hated.
No, he said, I heard a great story about Spielberg for Jake. He was asked what the low point of his career was. He said that he left a premiere of Hook crying. He said he realized it was such a bad movie and knew it was when he made it. Sorry, Jake.
No, I don't know about that. It had a lot of problems. Julia Roberts apparently was a big issue on set and everything like that, and I don't think a lot of people liked her casting. But Hook is such a good movie, such a fantastic movie. Hey, speaking of Neverland, and the Michael Jackson movie, the biopic by Anton Fuqua and starring Michael Jackson's nephew Jafar, has gotten its release date, and it will be in spring of 2025. So that is has an official date set, and they're to begin filming anytime now. So,
well, speaking of other projects that have been kind of greenlit, did you hear about Paramount is wanting to throw basically all the money, I guess, in existence to get Tom Cruise back onto a Top Gun 3 because they're beginning development on it?
Yeah, I saw some things about that, and coming up here soon in like a week or 2 weeks, I guess, the Indian movie Fighter, starring Hrithik Roshan and Deepika Padukone, is going to be released. It was delayed by COVID. It was originally set to come out not long after Top Gun 2, but it's finally getting released on the 25th of January.
Nice.
Yeah, and that's going to be cool. It was done by the producers of War and Pathan, not to be confused with the upcoming movie starring Hrithik Roshan, which is a sequel to War that we got a preview of at the end of Tiger 3, that had Pathan in there. Very excited about that one. But dude, it looks like Top Gun, but India. It looks so badass. The trailer is sick. I'm so stoked to have that. This one actually is Bollywood. I'm so stoked to have that come out in 2 weeks, and I will probably be watching that because it looks dope. It looks really cool. Which, talking Indian movies and Deepika Padukone, the movie Kalki 2898 has gotten...
Kalki?
Yeah. It's gotten
Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah, Macaulay Culkin is what they call it. No, it's like this sci-fi movie. It was filmed in Telugu and Hindi at the same time. But it has Prabhas and Amitabh Bachchan, like gigantic actors in the worlds of Indian movies. It's supposed to come out May 9th, which is
2024.
Yeah, this year, which is the same release date as Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which is recently moved to avoid being opened on the same weekend as Furiosa.
Yeah, you can't double up big movies like that.
So I'm gonna have a hard time that weekend. Like,
what to pick?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch like 7 hours of movies in the theater.
Want to shout out to all of our viewers on Twitch. I know we got some people watching on Facebook and YouTube as well, but our Twitch viewers just got a hype train up to level 3. Thank you, guys. Yeah, we haven't had a level 3 hype train in a minute, so thanks for that one. That's awesome, guys. Another one I was gonna mention was we could talk about this here in just a minute.
Yeah, Truckerlina said that everything they heard about Hook that was bad was Julia Roberts based too. That's true.
Well, because it's Julia Roberts.
Because Thudbutt's cool.
He has in pockets is cool. But you want to talk about what's coming out this week in the movie? Do you have any more things?
That was all my news. Yeah, we're good.
Dina on Twitch says we're all drunk and bored and we love the show. So thank you.
Yeah,
people are on a snow day. What else have you been doing today? You've just been drinking. You've been cooking stew. You've been waiting for us to come up here and talk about movies. So Thanks. I ate some leftover taco bean soup that my mom had made, and it was really scrumptious, and yummy for this cold weather. I was kind of craving pizza, but there was, if I didn't want to eat a whole pizza, that's just, because you would, like on a snow day, you would. You just sit there and just be a greasy monster. But here's what's coming out this weekend. Not a lot of stuff. Some super small budget stuff from director John Keyes called Cult Killer. Speaking of Antonio Banderas and Alice Eve, it's a private investigator has been murdered. His protege takes on a case. Her investigation unfolds, forced into a dangerous alliance with his killer, which I'm guessing is Antonio Banderas, to uncover the town's grisly secrets. Probably will only hit streaming, so you can check that out. But the one that everybody's kind of like curious about is this movie from director Gabriella Cooperwaith. It's called ISS. It's acronym I.S.S. It's a kind of an indie science fiction movie that's not really based on an existing IP. Which is kind of a gamble. A lot of analysts are like, can science fiction pull in audiences anymore when it's not attached to a book or a sequel or a universe or whatever. But this, the plot of this one says tensions flare in the near future aboard the International Space Station as conflict breaks out on Earth. Reeling, the U.S. and Russian astronauts receive order from the ground to take control of the station by any means necessary. So it's not like a super far like into the future, but it is sci-fi because it is in space on the International Space Station. I'm curious to see how much of a how many years there's a cycle, Jake, that like the Russians become bad guys in movies again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was like huge in the early 80s, like right after the Cold War and, Reaganomics and stuff. And then it kind of was like, oh, maybe we shouldn't do that because they're our homies. And then it was like Mexico became like the bad guys and everything was like a cartel, and they're like, oh, it's the cartels and it's the cartels that are doing it. These cartels. And then like,
well, maybe it's because Russia keeps invading these countries.
Well, and that was the thing is like once the Ukraine thing, because there for a minute there, we're like, nah, we can't keep putting everything on the cartels. Let's go ahead and do more Eastern Europeans. We'll do like the Ukraines and stuff.
Ben.
And all these like Ukrainian drug guys, just like in the first John Wick. It's like these Ukrainian assholes. And then Ukraine got invaded and we're like, oh shit, they can't be the bad guys. We got to go back to Russia. Russia's got it. They're bad again. And
plus a couple of years ago, they just rolled into Georgia
and we're just like,
fucked them up.
Yeah. So it's funny how like when it is and isn't okay I take it back. I missed a period. Like when we stopped, like before the cartels became the thing, and after Russia, it was the Middle East. Remember, like when like Rambo 3, and like it was a lot of, and then what, True Lies, and like all of these like the mid to late 80s and early to mid 90s, it was like, oh no, it's the Middle East is the bad guys, and
Rambo 3, it was still the Russians, because
no, it was in the Middle East.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I think it was the late 90s and the early 2000s. That's when the cartel became the foreign bad guys. So it's just weird how that works. But anyway, International Space Station, ISS, it's coming out in theaters this week. It's about the only thing that's coming out in theaters this week. So, you can check that out. Also coming out is Founders Day. It's like a comedy horror from director Eric Bloomquist. Trailers out there if you want to watch it. Got a bunch of people that I've never really heard of. They've been in movies. I wouldn't even call them up and comers yet, but it's a horror movie.
Founders Day does sound like a DS9 movie.
Founders Day. Yeah, what was it was Founders Day in a Star Trek Day?
Maybe.
I don't know.
I haven't watched DS9 in a little while.
Well, let's see. Zaxoff and Twitch commenting on the foreign bad guys. He said, we tried to do China, but that didn't really take off with Red Dawn remake. Because I think Red Dawn, that was Cuba during around the Cuban Missile Crisis. They were like, oh, Cuba's going to invade the United States through this high school. Didn't even survive release, changing North Koreans. And one of the reasons that we can't often make China the bad guy in films is we depend on their box office money, and they've seen, Hollywood studios have seen a lot of backlash when there is a big blockbuster film and China is in a bad light. They're like, oh, we're just going to ban this movie. You can't show it here. And they're like, well, we want this money. What movie? I'm trying to remember. There was a movie that was really famously reshot for a Chinese release.
There's a whole bunch of them. Or they'll get way different edits. Like their movies will be 10 or 12 minutes shorter or 10 or 12 minutes longer because it's like a whole different movie where the story, it's edited so that the story's completely different.
As Dina said, China got pretty pissed off at Barbie movie for the ill-drawn kids map and just banned it altogether. Like, yeah. And I remember, what was it? We saw the Meg 2.
Yeah, the Meg 2
was very...
Both of the Megs are heavy
pro-China, yeah. But yeah, it's interesting to watch how, I think I say this a lot, action, horror, sci-fi, they're a reflection of what's going on in our climate, and you can see social patterns and what's going on in the, collective mindset of our, I don't want to use the word zeitgeist because that's a douchey word, but I guess I just did. So there you go. There we go. Founders Day. And that's really about it. There is another indie horror movie coming out. It's got Guy Pearce. It's kind of the only reason I want to mention it because I actually love Guy Pearce as an actor. He's fantastic. He rarely does a role that I don't enjoy, but it's from director Andrew Baird. It's about this man, his name's Fallon, roaming the land as a creature of the night as he becomes to term with his tragic loss of his family at the hands of a brutal demagogue played by Guy Pearce. So another indie horror. We'll see. I don't know. It's got Guy Pearce. I like Guy Pearce, but
I like that movie where he's saving the president's daughter on the space station.
Oh yeah, that one was a good one. I mean, I love Ravenous. Ravenous is a phenomenal film with Guy Pearce. Memento, I think everybody knows. I think he's in that briefly. There's another Guy Pearce movie that I just whatever. He's great. I like him. Yeah. Okay. That's what's coming out in theaters this week. I was gonna say something, Jake. I was going to say, and now Jake says things. And I can't remember what it was.
What would I have to say? You're the only one that got to watch a movie. I didn't get to watch a movie. Ooh, but I forgot. There's supposed to be a new episode of Reacher out that I didn't watch yet.
It's every Thursday.
Yeah. So I haven't watched the latest one.
I did.
Is it good?
It's pretty good.
Because
it ends on you still want more though.
Yeah, I'd watched more than I thought I had when I found out that they were releasing weekly instead of just giving me the whole damn thing.
Oh, it's
and so I had one episode that I watched, and that was at the end. I was like, son of a bitch.
This last episode, he rolls up to the base, and he's like, all right, it's me. I'm here. Let's go.
Yeah.
And it's pretty fun. But yeah, every Thursday, which I guess we'll get a new episode this week as well. Again, also Amazon news, like... Invincible Season 2 episodes have been delayed. Everybody was speculating they'd be released either last week or this week, but Amazon has not announced any release date yet. They're like, well, we are not sure. It will be sometime in the first quarter of 2024. So everybody's a little bit upset, wondering why it's taking so long.
First quarter.
Yeah.
It's like March 25th.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Zimmerhammer says, I know it's not movie related, but did we catch the new True Detective last night? I did not.
I didn't know there was one.
It's a new one. Kind of looks very Fargo-esque.
I never use my HBO for anything. Or Max. I never use Max.
Why? You've got it.
I know. I got Max and Hulu and Netflix and Amazon and Crackle and Freevee and Pluto, and I use YouTube more than anything.
Yeah, so do I. I'm YouTube Premium, man. Love it. Dina on Twitch responds and says that she watched it this evening and it was pretty interesting. So, yeah.
The only time I ever get on Max is to watch DC Animated.
That makes sense. Isn't there a new, like, Infinite Earths animated something or another? That
I talked about it last week.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. When's the second part of that coming out?
Oh, I don't know.
No. Well, there you go. Okay, well, I guess I can talk about the movie that I watched. Jason Statham. You guys want to talk about one last job of Jason Statham? We'll do it because I went and saw Beekeeper. The Beekeeper is a movie that you can see, and it's fun, and it's good. I liked it. Is it a good movie? Not at all. Is it extremely derivative? 100%. This movie is really weird because it unabashedly, and David Ayer, like, I don't understand, like, I would have expected this out of any other director, but like David Ayer, you know, people know him because he did, you know, Suicide Squad. He's done, you know, a lot of other bigger movies that people that they know that he you know, what's the Fury. He did Fury. He did Street Kings. But the Suicide Squad, everybody's like, oh yeah, he did the Deputy series. Everyone's like, oh yeah, he's so good at action. And I will say that, you know, this movie is really fun to watch. Like, this movie is John Wick. Hard, it's John Wick. Because here's the story. There's this guy. He's retired. He's out of the business. He's a former, what they call, beekeeper, which is he's a hitman assassin that has a big moral compass that they're like, when the law fails, there's the beekeeper, you know. It's like, do you fight for law or do you fight for justice? You know, you'd love that. And anyway, he's retired. He's keeping his bees because that's a thing I guess beekeepers do. And there's this like old lady that he befriends and lives kind of on her property, and she gets scammed by some telemarketers. And they're these telemarketers that have these call centers all over the country, and they call up and they swindle old people out of, they're like, oh, just let us remote your computer. And she happened to like manage this multi-million-dollar account for a children's charity that she managed, lost everything, killed herself, right? And Jason Statham discovers this, teams up with, you know, and it's Felicia Rashad, who it was the old lady, you know, former star of the Cosbys. But he teams up with her daughter, and they kind of go on this quest to find Josh Hutcherson, who always plays a smug little douche, right? PETA, everybody remembers him. And he's the kingpin of this ring of telemarketer scamming, and his like dad or keeper is an ex-FBI guy, right? So okay, here we go. Let's re-illustrate the John Wickiness. Retired guy, just trying to chill, having a peaceful life. A thing he really cares about gets killed because of some douchebaggy rich kid who's running some crime syndicate. He decides to come out of retirement to go absolutely burn this organization to the ground out of revenge. And the father keeper of the douchebag kid is like, oh, it's a beekeeper? You're dead. We're all dead. You're going to get what's coming to you. Just like in John Wick. They're like, oh, yeah, if it's John Wick, Baba Yaga, he going to kill you. So you might as well just go ahead and die. And the whole movie is like about Josh Hutcherson trying to stay alive, and Jason Statham just absolutely plowing ass through every bad. Yeah, just plowing ass.
Plowing the ass.
Just laying waste to bad guys and like breaking into things. And, you know, CIA agents, they can't catch him. And these two FBI agents, one of them who it was the daughter of the lady who got killed, they are not teaming up, but they kind of have this understood sort of like, you know, I'm trying to be the law. And he's like, well, I'm trying to get justice, and don't get in my way because I'm only killing bad guys. And even when like SWAT team members are there to stop him, he's just like, oh, right in the neck and right in the balls, and you're not dead, but this guy is, bang, 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 you know. And it's fun, mainly just because watching Jason Statham just kick people's asses is satisfying, because he's been training, you know, professional fight choreography for most of his life, and he's really good at it, and he has a lot of presence on screen, and you know, it's just fun to watch. What I wish that this movie had done, a lot of the B stuff was a little over the top, but I wish that they And like there was a bad guy mini boss that was just like he's like, I'm familiar with a beekeeper. I took one down one time, blah, and he's like got all these tattoos and like a kind of New Zealand Australian accent and one leg, and he's like, hey, man, he dresses all in like day glow and he's a big douche, and it's so stupid and over the top. But I wish that
that is a thing to happen, or this thing that you very detail-oriented wish happened.
His name was Lazarus, for Christ's sake.
Okay.
Let me see if I can pull up a picture. Lazarus Beekeeper. I mean, this guy was ridiculous. They don't have a screen grab of him, but he was just comedically mini bossy. Let's just put it that way. But what I wish had happened that I think would have made me enjoy this movie better is if this had taken place in the John Wick-averse that they're trying to create, right? Because in that world, it seems like there's all these hitmen of different like flavors, and even like the Beekeeper system was like old dot matrix shit, and just like in John Wick, where it's like this weird Harry Potter and style of communication network between these hitmen in the modern world.
with the they got to put the cables and
the switchboard operators. Yeah. Well, this was like all dot matrix PCs, like the computer out of Lost, what they were like using and stuff. But I think if they had just taken this character of the Beekeeper and injected him in that world of John Wick, I think it would have made more sense. Instead of like, oh, here's this network of beekeepers, it was just like, hey, it's the Beekeeper. You've heard of this, kind of just like John Wick. It's like, oh, it's John Wick. You're fucked. Just do that with Jason Statham. And that is this movie. It's John Wick with a different skin. And in a way, I'm not mad at it. But in a way, I'm like, I wish they'd tried a little harder, and because I know that this movie wasn't like pinned at the same time and they just got around to making it. Because you know how that sometimes happens in years where they'll be like, what, Armageddon and the other one, where the Deep Impact, and then there was The Illusionist and The Prestige, and like these movies come out at the same year, and it's like these studios are like, damn it, they got me, they beat us by a week, and
yeah, because the same guy pitched the movie to everyone, and some of them were like, nah, that's stupid, get out of here. Hey, write down everything he just said.
Yeah, Dante's Peak and Volcano. It's
Dante's Peak, where that old lady boils in that water because she falls out of the boat.
Oh, that was awesome. Oh man. Oh,
both of those movies were cool though.
Dante's Peak and Inferno or Volcano.
Yeah, because Volcano had Tommy Lee Jones, right? And Dante's Peak was Pierce Brosnan. Yeah, both of those movies.
Oh, Velvet Santa on Twitch coming up with a lot of examples. Ants and Bugs Life. Babe
but Ants had Stallone, man.
It did.
Yeah, but no one liked Ants. I liked Ants.
Ants was pretty good.
But everyone liked the Pixar movie better.
Yeah.
They hated the Woody Harrelson, or Woody Allen.
Yeah. Well, everybody does.
Well,
so, yeah.
At the time.
But yeah, I mean, Beekeeper, it's fun. It's a fun ride. It's got that, just, you know how you just go in and a revenge movie just feels good. You're just like, you want to see people get hurt for the bad shit that they did.
Dude, I used to watch Death Wish marathons when I was a kid. I was so stoked on them.
Yeah, it's that kind of movie. So if you're just not into action movies, don't go see this. It's not a work of art. But if you like a revenge movie and love some great fight choreography, interesting kills, and Jason Statham doing one last job, then you're gonna dig it. So I'll watch Jason Statham do one last job.
Dude, I really wanted to see this, but the weather had other plans for me. So
there you go.
I will catch it sometime because I want to see it.
Yeah. Well, it's in theaters right now. Doing not so bad, I guess, all things considered, especially since there's just a major snowstorm happening in the middle of the country right now. So a lot of people are, bundled up indoors. A lot of places are closed and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah. You want to pull something out of the box?
Yeah.
Yeah. So for those of you that are either just listening to the podcast, maybe tuning in on Facebook or YouTube and don't know what we're talking about, at the end of the year, around Christmas time, one of our viewers, Velvet Santa over on Twitch, sent us a box of gifts, random gifts. So far, most of them have been VHS cassette copies of movies. And I haven't really looked at any of these. I just reach down. They're covered, and I reach down into the box and I grab something. And I hand it over. So we've been blindly okay. I'm gonna get the two things that are oddly shaped. I'm going to hand you this one. Then I'm
Okay.
going to get this one. This one feels like... What does yours feel like?
Double VHS.
Mine feels like a record. So we'll see. So we're going to count to 3. We'll describe it for those of you that are listening to the audio-only version of
I'm trying
this.
to think of what was released as double VHS.
Titanic.
Yeah, Titanic. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang was a double VHS?
Yeah. They have it on a single, but if you want the full movie, you get it.
What else was an infamous double VHS? Was like Gone with the Wind? Was that a double VHS?
I don't know.
Seven Samurai? Ooh, that was
Ooh.
a double DVHS. That
It would
be
have to be.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, we will in 3, 2, 1. What'd you get there? Oh shit!
It's a triple,
That's a triple.
dude.
Oh, that's the Indiana Jones, the collection, the VHS. And look what I got. I got a Japanese laser disc, or it's actually a laser vision, a copy of RoboCop.
RoboCop.
Oh man, that's cool. CD video. Oh, sweet. That'll have to come out of its reflective wrapper and live on the back there. Very cool. A Paul Verhoeven film, RoboCop.
Dude, I saw an article I didn't read about.
slip.
They did an interview with Paul Verhoeven, and he reviewed remakes of RoboCop and Total Recall. And they were like, yeah, he just rips into them. It's like, well, of course he did. They suck.
Oh, look at this. Oh, hang on. Where's the upper cam? Boop. Look at that. It's got the characters for RoboCop.
Oh.
That's pretty dope.
Dude, you know what, too? I was pulling out these videos to just look at the box art because that's a fun thing to do that a lot of people don't do anymore. But they were in chronological order, and then as I look at the top of them, they say Chapter 23, 24, and 25 of The Complete Adventures of Indiana Jones.
Does that count the
Young Indiana Jones. It must be, yeah.
All right, I'm trying to put this in quietly, but it's also like eating nachos in the theater. It's like not possible.
Who was it that played young Indiana Jones in the TV show?
Oh, that was River Phoenix.
No, that was the movie.
Oh, that's right. It
That
was
was in Last Crusade. I can't remember who did it in the TV show.
Oh, just some kid.
'Cause,
some kid, I think.
Ryan Gosling was young Hercules.
What?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
That's funny. McLean says Gone with the Wind was also a big VHS.
Yeah, it would have to be.
Night Alice says, does at Velvet Santa work at a vintage movie stuff place? And he says on Twitch, he goes, I don't. I just spend too much time at Goodwill. Because like VHS movies are the only thing that Goodwill has not marked up beyond all stupid, like any sort of considerable price. I've found things at Goodwill that are more expensive than they are brand new at Walmart. It's like the thrift world is getting out of control. You know, the profiteering is getting out of control.
Sean Patrick Flannery.
That's right.
Yeah,
That Flannery
22
guy.
episodes. So Temple of Doom, Raiders, and Last Crusade. But, you know, they had that old Indy, and that was one of the things about that last Indiana Jones movie that came out, was that Indy was like 80 years old, or at least Harrison Ford is. It took place in the 60s. Indy was... So they were trying to say that he was like 60 or 70 or something maybe in the movie. But they kind of undid like the cool eye patch old man Indiana Jones that helps narrate the stories in the Young Indiana Jones series.
Yeah, it's not good. Not cool. You shouldn't have done that. Should have stayed with canon. Yeah, all right. Well, that's those are cool. Thank you. Well, like the stack is getting to the point where you can see it on camera. Yeah, it's getting big. All right.
Vince posted a whole list of double VHSs.
Oh, I guess he
That's what it
went.
looks like.
There's a ranker.com double VHS. That's pretty funny. Dina says, I seem to remember the lore being that his life was extended by he drank from the Grail. Not immortal, but longer than most.
Well, he had to drink from the Grail to know that it was safe so that he could rescue his dad and get out of there.
That's right. Oh, Indiana
Let
Jones.
it go, Elsa, you butthole. You German butthole.
He was trying to get at that German butt, though,
Well,
for a
he
minute.
sure did, though. So did Sean Connery, dude. She talks in her sleep, my guy.
Sean Connery.
Yeah, don't trust her.
All right. Well, that's let's see. Okay, we did our gift segment, and now I guess it's time for the box office roundup. I mean, we're almost filled our time here, which is impressive. So we're gonna do the box office report, which is we give you the top 10 movies in America from number 10 to number 1 for the past weekend. This weekend will be January 12th through 15th, 2024. It is Martin Luther King Jr. weekend right now. So Jake's gonna start with number 10, work his way up to number 1, and most of these are domestic totals because those are the ones that matter here in the U.S. We talked about it a lot, so you know the drill. What was number 10?
Number 10 was the Iron Claw. Brought in an estimated $2.5 million, bringing its domestic take in its 4 weeks out up to just under $30 million. That's another one I get asked about a lot because being a wrestling fan and everything, I know the story. I talked to a friend about it yesterday. It's sad, and it is sad, especially if you know it. And there's parts of it that I think would be more sad because of some of the story choices. I do plan on watching it sometime. It's just hard to go to the theater and know that you're just going to be bummed the whole time. Coming in at number 9, opening at the number 9 spot, The Book of Clarence. An estimated $3 million brought in by that one. That's the Jesus flick, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then at number 8, in its third week out, Boys in the Boat, $4 million brought in by that one, bringing it just under $40 million.
I'm surprised it made that much money.
It's gotten more advertising since it was released than before.
That's weird. I don't get it.
And then at number 7, in its 2 weeks out, Night Swim brought in another $5.5 million, bringing its domestic take up to 20. And that's like the
horror movie
anthology take on a swimming pool that kills people.
Yeah. It has Kurt Russell's son in it.
Yeah, Wyatt. Yeah. And then at number 6, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, only 4 weeks out, bringing in $6.6 million this past weekend. Its domestic total under 110 in its month of release. That's made it better than some of the more recent comic book movies released, beating both Marvel and DC's last releases. However, not enough to make anyone care. It's brought in about 375 total across the world, so not bad for it. Hopefully that brought them some money after all their reshoots and everything. But
probably not.
Yeah, who knows? And then at number 5, Migration. This one's the one that's kind of surprising because they talked so much crap on it when it first came out. 4 weeks out from Universal, $8.3 million brought in by it this past weekend. Its domestic take bringing it up to about $88 million. So not bad for that one. It's really hung in there. Good for it. And then at number 4, just above it, Anyone But You. This one's surprising. Truly.
How much money this is making.
Yeah. $8.5 million brought in by it over the past weekend, only in under 3,000 theaters, and its domestic take is just under $57 million, and it's 4 weeks out. But it's one that started out as like a nothing thing, and then people just started going to watch it because what were their other options? Their other options were sing-song bullshit movies like Wonka at number 3. $11 million brought in by that one, 5 weeks out. Just under 180 million bucks, 178.8. Across the world, it's grossed more than $500,000. Wow. Yeah. I wonder if there's people that are actually like, yeah, this movie kicks ass. I love that it's a musical. This is where I'm at. Or if it's so many people that are like, dude, Wonka was like, Willy Wonka's cool as hell. Let's go watch that. And then they're like, it's a singing movie. Nah. And then like it's just got enough money from people on nostalgia and recognition that it's continued on. Don't know. And then opening at the number 2 spot, Beekeeper brought in $19 million. Not bad for an opening weekend on something like that. But dwarfing that, towering above it, the release of Mean Girls opened at number 1 spot. $33.2 million brought in by that sing-song bullshit movie. So,
2 musicals in the top 5. But as Zimmerhammer said on Twitch, he was also tricked by the fact that he didn't realize that Wonka was a musical. No mistake about Mean Girls though. Like
that one advertised as the Broadway version of it. I told the story the other day, and I'll tell it again. I was in a store, local store, and a guy and his family just kind of wandered in, clearly out of place, and they were talking to the clerk at the store, who I was in mid-conversation with when they came in. But he said that he was taking his whole family to watch Wonka. And I said, hey, heads up, it is a musical. They sing more than they talk. And he said, thanks for letting me know. I had no idea. He said, the only movie I've ever walked out of in my life was because I walked in and did not know it was a musical. And I was like, well, there you go.
You just saved that man's life.
Yeah, I at least prepped him for it, because he would have had a really, really bad time finding out, surprised like I did when I was sitting in the theater. And I was
like, why are they still singing
about
this? Has no purpose for us to be a song. Mm-hmm. Scrub. Okay,
dude. Yeah. Okay. Jeez, dude. Why would you bring that back? Why would you?
It was the only memorable song from the movie that wasn't from the other old movie.
The only two were, the Oompa Loompa doopity dumb shit movie. And
well, they didn't put Candyman in, even though that's a great song.
No, and they just did the melody of like the original theme song. Yeah.
Yeah. People are, Dina says on Twitch, people are really effing up this musical movie advertising, and Mean Girls is just done poorly for a movie musical. Yeah, it's a weird genre. It's a weird genre, man. It's weird. It's absolutely weird. But okay, well, I guess that's about it for the show. We've nailed it. We hit all the points. We've gone for almost an hour. We're here. I am starting to feel the chill of the heater being off in here. Vince says he did a reminder. Everyone can hop on the Discord after the show. He's going to be hosting a watch along over on our Discord channel, if you guys want to jump into that. So a lot of fun stuff. If you're snowed in, you can jump over on the Discord and chat with everybody and watch along with Vince as he shows something. I don't know what it's going to be, but it could be exciting. You never know.
Is it a foreign film?
It might be. But with that said, stay warm out there if you have snow on the ground or cold weathers. Drive safely, or don't at all if you have to get out there. And we'll be back next week, Monday night. I don't know what we're going to see because, again, I don't really think I want to see the International Space Station movie, but I might.
Super dumb. Like the whole world just catches on fire, and they're like, hey, you up there, kill each other. It's like, what?
Oh, why?
Yeah, it's like the entire world in the trailer is just ablaze with nuclear fire, and they get a message, you five should kill the other five just because. And it's like, dude, don't you think they would have more to worry about up there? Like, hey, who's going to come get us from this thing?
What are we going to do?
When's our next shipment of food going to show up?
No joke. But all right, guys. Well, that's our show. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe wherever it is you prefer, Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. We like Twitch. It's fun. There's a lot of cool emotes and subscription things, and we actually get the biggest payouts if you actually support us on there. So that is pretty cool. Thank you for everybody that did sub today and cheered and got us up on that hype train. That was awesome. You can also download this podcast wherever it is you subscribe or download your audio podcasts. Just search for the Drive-In Speaker Box Podcast. There is a hyphen in Drive-In. And with that said, I guess we're out of here. As always, I am your host, Bo, the Boom Operator.
I'm the Grip.
We'll see you next week.
As you leave the theater, folks, please be careful. Don't let this happen to your car. Be sure to remove the speaker before you leave. If you should accidentally pull a speaker loose, please turn it in at our snack bar or box office. Thank you.